The international break is finally over, and whisper it quietly, but as someone that's normally a hater of international break, this one has delivered because so many countries were fighting for their lives as their last chance to make the FIFA World Cup next year. So today we're going to be covering all the big teams in Europe, England, France, Italy, Spain, etc, etc. We're going to go to South America, cover what happened with Brazil, Argentina, etc. And then we're going to go to Africa where, listen, we had some crazy games. There were comebacks, there were fan riots, so much drama all over the world. And yes, we are going to be covering Norway 11. I get it, haha, we lost. But guess what? I've got one nation going to the World Cup. Ghana will be there. Hey, is your country going to be there? Oh, I don't know. In fact, if your country is going to the World Cup, make sure you subscribe. And if your country hasn't qualified yet, still make sure you subscribe for good luck. But anyway, without further ado, enough yapping. Let's go straight into what happened in Europe. We had a whole video about England v Andorra, so I'm not going to cover that again. You know, big ups to Madueke for the cross, and then Rice gets the header after the Reece James incredible cross for the second goal. But their second game, again, every team here played 2 games, so for a lot of them I'll cover 1 game, sometimes 2, depending on how interesting it was. The second game, they went to Serbia and they slapped 5 on their head. At this point, I think suddenly every English fan is starting to enjoy the Declan Rice deliveries, because when he's doing it at club level, everyone's just thinking, oh no, look at this set piece spammer, what's he doing? He goes to England and he's again delivering bombs to people's heads and they are just finishing it like it's easy as you like on a play. I mean, many people got their first ever England goal. Harry Kane opened the scoring as per. Arguably, England's player of the 2 weeks, if you will, Madueke, got his first England goal. Again, I'll be honest, you know me, I don't really rate him like that, but what we're seeing recently, you have to hold your hands up and say, you know what, hey, fair play. You know, he's slightly cooking. Ezri Konsa bagged. Mark Gahey, someone who's had a pretty, let's say, difficult last couple of weeks with not getting his Liverpool move, he bagged as well. And then Marcus Rashford got a bit of confidence back with his penalty. I also want to give a shout out to Jed Spence of Tottenham. Obviously, we know all the stuff he's been through, even before Spurs and the whole stuff about when he was at Middlesbrough and whatnot. He, not officially, but as far as we know, has become the first ever Muslim to represent England. So, you know, big ups to him. England 5-0 win again. Look, it wasn't that pretty. Again, there were a lot of set-piece goals, but again, Tuchel has managed, I think, 4 games now, 4 wins, no goals conceded. So, you know, fair play to England. But speaking of Arsenal players that aren't really rated, that are just randomly going crazy, what is a polar bear doing in Texas? Mikel Merino of Spain. Their first game, you know, they beat Bulgaria 3-0. He got a goal. It's like, yeah, fair play. Cucurella scored as well. But like the Bulgaria game, I'll be honest, it wasn't that interesting. What caught my eye was Spain 6, Turkey 0. Everyone was talking about, oh, Turkey is going to be crazy. It's going to be Lamine Yamal v Arda Güler. Me personally, I feel like it's a bit harsh to judge Güler based on, you know, Turkey v Spain, arguably the best team in the world right now. But with that being said, it was the Mikel Merino show. And what was like fascinating to me is, cool, he scores the first goal, yeah, incredible tiki-taka play. The football was just like, it's delightful to watch. He slots it home and, you know, he runs off, he does his little thing. It's the way he jogs off nonchalantly, yeah, as if he bags like this every single week, bro. Like, I get it, he's slightly bagging a lot more goals recently, but then he scores again the second goal, this time the right foot. Again, just slots it home as if he's some elite striker that's been banging goals for 10 years, you know, 25 goals a season. And then to top it all off, when everyone's thinking, yeah, there's no way this guy is going to somehow pull up with a hat-trick. This midfielder, wherever you want to play him, is not bagging a hat-trick. He picks up the ball around like the halfway line, yeah, a little bit ahead of the halfway line, drives with like maybe 5-10 yards and says, you know what, I'm kind of feeling myself here. And he bangs it, bro, from like 30 yards out, and it flies in. And again, you know, normally you bag a goal like that, you run off, even think back to like Messi and David Villa Champions League final goals, yeah, they're running, yeah. Mikel Merino, yeah, he's jogging off, going like that, and then he does his celebration. Bro, I know you're gassed. I know people say like, act like you've been here before, but you haven't been here before, bro. Stop acting like that. But nevertheless, I guess big ups to him, fair play, full credit. Who else deserves credit? Pedri. This guy is getting in his goal scoring bag. If he starts delivering, you know, 10, 12 goals a season, he might start entering certain conversations. We'll go to Italy. Italy, it was two completely opposite games for them, because although in their first game they managed to score 5 goals and win 5-0 Estonia, it was the second match that caught everyone's eye. Many people were hoping for an Italy win. I, as an honest Moldova fan, of course, wanted Italy to batter their opponents, but it didn't start like that. Donnarumma, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. I don't know if he was paid by some people, but he was trolling the whole game, bro. He was basically throwing the ball in his own net, like we've seen another Manchester keeper do for a while. We're going to speak about him also, but when we get to the Africa segment, but just bear with us on that one, because I actually feel bad for that guy. Donnarumma's throwing the ball in his own net. But lo and behold, Italy, they managed to come back. They go 3-1 up. You're thinking, oh, lovely. You know, job done. You know, we can go watch another game now. No. They start just scoring own goals again. So they've already bagged their own goal to begin with. Locatelli, I think, was the first one. Now Bastoni is joining in the own goals. And before you know it, it's 3-3. You're thinking, nah. In the last minute, not last minute, with like 5 minutes to go, Italy think they've won it 4-3. Again, everyone's like, yeah, come on, Italy. Me, as an honest Moldova fan, that's why I was so happy for Italy to win, if you know what I mean. They concede again 4-4 in the last minute. You're thinking, bro, what's wrong with these guys, bro? You have one job. And for those wondering, Moldova are in that group. That's why, you know, I'm thinking, oh, if Italy can win, maybe Moldova win our last couple. Anyway, so 4-4, we're thinking, yep, well done. You've messed it up yet again. But no, once again, Italy score to win 5-4 in the dying minutes, bro. They win the game. There's riots because the team that they're facing, they start complaining and crying as usual. And, you know, if you ask me, it's like, I don't know how you're even invited to the tournament. I thought it was the European qualifications we're talking about. So I don't even know if you have a leg to stand on. But nonetheless, Gattuso showed them levels. They got sent packing. So it seems as though Italy, who they have been struggling to make World Cups recently, might just be going to one after all. Let's go to Portugal, because they also got 5 goals. Their one was against Amenyah in the first game. It was like an Al Nassr link-up, if you will, right? Because we had Ronaldo getting a brace still at 40, and João Felix also got a brace in that game. So maybe João Felix going to Al Nassr was the right move for Portugal as well, because they're kind of developing that connection even more, where they're training every day, they're playing week in, week out, so they're learning a bit more about each other. And in their second game, Portugal, they had to suffer, bro. The lineup was smelling, I can't lie. Like, I saw Cancelo playing centre-back with João Neves a right-back, and then Ruben Neves still start. I said, eee, this ain't banging. And lo and behold, they were struggling v Hungary. Ronaldo scored again, so hey, fair play. Ronaldo just keeps on bagging even at 40. Road to 1,000 goals. He's moving like me. Ooh, that's a question. Who's going to get there first? Me with 100k subscribers, or Ronaldo to 1,000 goals? If you want to help me win the race, you know what to do. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, do the comments, do whatever. I'm now racing Ronaldo, bro. I want the 100k plaque. He wants his 1,000 goals. We'll see who gets there first. All I can tell you is we're both getting there by hook or by crook. But yeah, in the end, to be fair to Cancelo, he delivers the goods and Portugal win against Hungary. We go to Germany. These guys have been struggling, bro. Even before this international break, the record has not been looking good. I watched them against Slovakia, and I wasn't moved whatsoever. They lost 2-0. There wasn't much home to write about. It was a pretty meaty game. And even their second game where they beat Northern Ireland, again, I'm going to be honest with you, they weren't that good, guys. They were not very good at all. This Voltemar, the guy that everyone is saying, oh, shut up, you don't understand, like he's going to be incredible. He's well worth 80, 85 million, whatever it is that you keep on changing the price from 90 million. He was anonymous. And again, I repeat, it's not me saying he was bad. It's just, now this is the second time that I've watched him, and still, I haven't seen anything of note whatsoever. Now, I think Northern Ireland defended really, really well. Obviously, it was 1-1, but so Gnabry scored really early on. But just in general, it wasn't a game where Germany dominated. They had all the ball, but were doing nothing with it. Until second half, they made some subs. To be fair, their second goal was quite nice. And then Florian Wirtz, who, you know, everyone has written off. They said he's washed, he's rubbed. How did this guy cost this much money? He bangs in a free kick. Now, I will say it is shameless of Liverpool fans to be saying, well, that's how you know he's worth the money now, because at the end of the day, that free kick, it didn't go in for Liverpool. But regardless, it is clear to see that Florian Wirtz is good at football. Just needs a bit of time, maybe a bit of confidence as well. But I guess big ups to them. France or France, bro. France, again, the thing with France, they're going to win the games anyway, bro. So there's not even that much of a point, checking into their games, right? They beat Ukraine, Olise scored, Mbappe scored. But again, if I'm just saying these things, what you won't know is Barcola's finishing yet again, bro. This guy gets the ball and then blasts it over the bar every single time. And you're not going to see that, because all you're going to see is the second game where Barcola scored and Mbappe scored his penalty, but nobody will speak about all the misses Barcola does, bro. So I reiterate, Barcola's not a bad player. In fact, he's a good player. But this guy is the biggest BCM magnet I've seen out of all the good players. So yeah, we'll move on from there. We go for the last couple European games before we fly over to South America. We have to discuss Netherlands, because they drew 1-1 Poland. It was a Dumfries bullet header, if you will. And their second game, they beat Lithuania 3-2. Depay scoring twice. Quentin Timber, who, by the way, remember during Champions League last season, I was telling you guys, Timber's brother is slightly cold as well, but Depay. Look, I don't know how comfortable I am, and again, it's not really up to me, so I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I don't know how comfortable I am with Memphis Depay being the all-time top scorer of Netherlands. I understand, he beat Van Persie's record, and Van Persie, they played similar games. Depay just slightly more games, so I understand it's not even a games thing. But then when I see the full list, and you're ahead of the likes of like a Van Basten, like a Johan Cruyff, Robben on the wing, Van Nistelrooy, Huntelaar, all the Dutch strikers with Hasselbank and did I say Kluivert, all the brothers that have played, Bergkamp, etc., etc. Do I feel comfortable that you were the top scorer ever? I don't know. There has to be some sort of like percentage decrease or something, because all of those guys were competing for the spots together, whilst Depay is fighting against Weghorst. But nevertheless, credit where it's due. He's done it, so fair play to him. Oh, Mbappe, by the way, I forgot to mention for the France one, speaking of like records, Mbappe's overtaken Henry, so only in his sights now is Olivier Giroud. Again, how he's number one, I don't know, but again, it's not up to me. We go to Belgium, back-to-back 6-0, Doku's bagging. Kevin De Bruyne is still bagging goals for a nation that Lukaku's their all-time top scorer. But that one I think is fair, because Belgium, prior to like 2010, let's be honest, no one cared at all about anything Belgium did. So that one's fair. And the last one in Europe, yes, let's talk about it. Norway 11, Moldova 1. And the one goal, it was an own goal as well. Haaland bagged 5 goals, I believe, for the third time in his career. Odegaard with his haircut was looking sharp, although can I call it sharp when it's a team that, again, I'll be honest, I might even send an email to Moldova FA now and tell them, yo, let me play. Give me a little, trial period or something, bro, because it cannot get worse than this. 11-1. This is a team that just a year ago, we were so close to making the Euros. We had a great run. We were beating teams. We were unbeaten in multiple games, in and UEFA Nations League, DO, whatever, we're cooking. Now we cannot even score to save our lives, bro. So, yes, it happens. The moment it got to 10, for me, 9-0 or 9-1, leave, bro. Just get out quickly. Do whatever you can to not make it 10. You've done that anyway. And now, the only, I guess, saving grace is that it is not the biggest ever loss. We're not going to be in the Wikipedia records for biggest loss, because actually, in terms of Europe qualifications, the biggest loss ever for the FIFA World Cup Europe qualifications is Germany, when they packed Cyprus 12-0 back in 1969, for those of us who remember. And I was there that game, and I was worried. I was thinking, oof, I'm getting PTSD flashbacks here, except it's my team. So, yeah, I guess, Moldova, all tight you, man. We go again next time. But let's head to South America, where there's only really 3 teams I want to discuss, so it's not going to take too long this part. There's a lot of African games I want to talk about. So Argentina, their first game, Venezuela, they beat 3-0, right? Messi bags a brace. And I'm watching again, I'm thinking, Messi is obviously the best of all time, right? At this point, is he going to make the World Cup? Because he's got a little chip and whatever. He's still extremely talented. I mean, he's never going to lose that talent. Physically, maybe he might not be there, but if they can kind of carry him physically, he still has a lot to offer. Albeit, I'll be honest, they were kind of moving a bit like squad battles, where it's like, the objectives they tell you back in the day. I don't know if they still have it on FIFA. I haven't played for like a year now, but they'll be like, score with a player with a left foot, score with a chip goal, whatever, and you're force feeding Messi, bro. I'm seeing Julian Alvarez having like near open goals, and he's cutting it back to Messi to give him a goal. But again, I get why they do it, you know. And Messi's giving them a World Cup back, so by all means, feel free. At the same time, their all-time arch nemesis, Brazil, they also win 3-0. Estevao, they're going to tell you it's an incredible bicycle kick. It was an overhead kick, but those of us who watched it, it was from like 1 yard out. It was on the line. It may have even been going in without him touching it, and he does like a nice little overhead. Which, again, to be fair to him, do what you got to do, bro. A goal's a goal. I ain't mad at it. And to be fair, Brazil was kind of interesting because it was almost like a full Premier League team, except Marquinhos, Rafinha, and the fullbacks is any NPCs every time, bro. Gone are the days of Marcelo, Dani Alves, Roberto Carlos, Maicon, these kind of names, Jalma Santos and Nilton Santos, you know, in the 50s and the 60s, for those of us who remember. Now it's like Wallison and Weverton and Wele, all these guys that are just playing. I don't know who you are, bro, but big up your thing, I guess. Keep grinding. Martinelli, to be fair, was looking sharp. He was dribbling like he was a Brazilian again. So again, fair play to him. But then, the second game for both these teams, it's like they were playing snap and they were copying each other. So they both won their first game 3-0, and they both lost their second game 1-0. Now, look, to be honest with you, the top 6 for South America, it wasn't that interesting. They had all qualified already, so there wasn't really any like jeopardy behind it. But nevertheless, Argentina lost to Ecuador. Caicedo got his first ever red card of his career, but they still won the game. And then Brazil lost 1-0 to Bolivia. I said, hey. But look, again, I repeat, both of them kind of rested players. It didn't really matter that much to them. Something that I do want to discuss though. Remember our hashtag, say no to Suarez. Well, it worked. Because that meaty Luis Suarez got booted out. He's been banned for 6 games. And we finally have a proper Luis Suarez that we can support. Luis Suarez of Colombia, who came in and he bagged 4 goals as they beat Venezuela 6-3. Now, look, big up to James Rodriguez as well, by the way, who is still scoring for Colombia. I don't even know how old he is now, but he's still doing bits for them. But Luis Suarez, we finally have one we can support. So there's now, Spanish Luis Suarez, the Ballon d'Or winner. We have Colombian Luis Suarez and that meaty down there. So again, fair play. On to Africa. Ha 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 ha. I know who's going to the World Cup. And it might not be your country, but mine are, because Ghana, look, they went away, Chad, 1-1 draw. Last minute dagger to draw 1-1 as well, by the way. So that was a bit unfortunate. I can't lie, I was fuming. But then, a nice little 1-0 win v Mali. I'll be real, it was a scrappy win. Juku at the back post, he managed to get there. That's not what we're here for, because there were some serious games in Africa. So Nigeria beat Rwanda 1-0. You're thinking, okay, they're going to join us in the World Cup. Second game, what happens? 1-1 South Africa. I know what's going to happen already. They're going to say, oh, you didn't watch the game. The referee was so biased. He was so bad. Is it? Because from what I saw, Calvin Bassey was flying like Superman like that, and the ball bounced off his, what do you call this? Your inner elbow, whatever this is, yeah? The ball bounced off this to go in the net for the equalizer. And it counted. No VAR. He ran off celebrating. He went to his knees doing that, praying up there that maybe nobody finds out that he cheated with his arms. And lo and behold, you draw 1-1 and that's it. You are fighting for a second. With 2 games to go, you've got to close the gap by like 4 points, I think it is, and hope that everyone loses games. So I'll be real, Nigeria, start packing your Nigeria must go bags. You can watch from yard, yeah? Let us know how it is. Nepa, light off for your World Cup qualification. And we go to, arguably, the team that had the most exciting game in Africa anyway. Senegal, who, their first game, they beat Sudan 2-0. But it was Senegal v Congo. That was the big game that everyone was locked in for. Again, I don't really care for either of them, right? Like, they're not really my rivals. I don't really have any ill will towards any of them. I was just there for chaos and drama. And it started out crazy, bro. Congo, 2-0 up. I think it was Bakombu and Wissa bagged. Now, Wissa, there's a clip. I can't put it on the screen, obviously, for copyright reasons. But please go and find the clip here of Wissa when there's like a counter-attack. They could have scored again, bro. He's pretty much one-on-one. The guy stumbles on the grass, falls on the floor. Next thing you know, blink of an eye, Senegal have won 3-2. Pape Sarr, 87th minute. They came back and won it, and now the table has turned on its head again. So yeah, condolences to the Congolese, unfortunately, but it's not looking too hot for you lot. I can't lie, man. Cameroon, 3-0 win v Eswatini. I think, you know, gather 10 of you guys and myself, we're all beating Eswatini, so that's not the problem. But the second game, they played Cape Verde, yeah, and this, I kind of feel bad for Onana. Like, well, the thing is, did United kill his confidence? Like, I don't know. Obviously, it's his own fault. You know, he ruined their confidence. But, bro, they've run from their own half, yeah, genuinely like 60, 70 yards. He's not moving an inch. He just stood there on his goal line. He hasn't tried to close the angle, rush out a little bit. He just stands there as they've scored. Now, naturally, well, I say naturally, this is not to be expected. Actually, we've got to speak about Senegal in a second, or Congo in a second. But let me finish what I'm saying here. The fans, they riot. But I felt bad for Onana, bro. Look, he's having a tough time. He doesn't need random fans chucking water bottles at his head. Like, you, man, you're taking it too far, bro. You're bullying the guy now. Like, you may argue he deserves a little bit in terms of like United and that, but he's a human being, innit? He's a human being. But with that being said, I forgot to mention Senegal, Congo. These man, Congo, be ashamed. I was saying unlucky, be ashamed, bro. The moment they started losing, listen, you are lucky you have that Olympic track around the pitch. Because guys were launching missiles, bottles, everything. They were just chucking it. Bro, I saw the ball was bouncing over the bottles whilst they were there. They were bouncing over the bottles because they were all over the pitch. People were covering their head like this. All the stewards were wearing the white helmets like they were in the construction site or something. But anyway, yeah, so that happened, whatever. Cameroon lost to Cape Verde. Algeria do what Algeria do, right? They just get the job done. They're not really an exciting team anymore. They beat Botswana 3-1. They drew 0-0 Guinea, but they should be all right. Morocco, I mean, them, man. Morocco are probably the team to beat when it comes to like African nations, right? We've seen it, you know, at the last World Cup. They beat Niger 5-0, Zambia 2-0 as well. It's comfy for them, innit? Like, they are going to just win every single game, have no care in the world. So we'll see them at the World Cup. Egypt, they beat Ethiopia 2-0. Salah and Marmoush both bagging penalties. And then in the second game, Marmoush went off injured in, I think, like minute 10, something like that. Ended up drawing 0-0 with, who did it draw? Burkina Faso? My mind has blanked for a second. I think it was Burkina Faso. Yeah, no penalties this time, unfortunately. So, yeah, that is the Africa qualifiers pretty much wrapped up. Again, I know there's lots of teams, but I cannot cover everyone in one single video. One thing I do want to mention, I don't know what they were playing. Was it for friendlies? Was it for a laugh? But New Zealand, Australia played, and Iran Kunda. Can we give him a special mention and a bit of a round of applause? This guy, look, I'm not going to lie to you and say like I watched the game. I just saw Twitter clips. I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I just saw it on Twitter. In fact, I didn't even see that he scored. I realized afterwards when going to research the game and try and find the highlights that he scored as well. I just saw a free kick from like 35 yards that smashed the ball over knuckleable. I said, yeah, Iran Kunda still got it. I know he didn't have the best time at Bayern and whatnot, but I think Iran Kunda is still a top talent, and hopefully this season, you know, playing in EFL, he can kick on a little bit. He also scored a solo goal as well to beat New Zealand, so fair play. But yeah, that is pretty much everything that I can think of. Apologies to the Asia fans. I don't have more than 2 eyes, so I can't watch every single game in the whole universe. But if you're from an Asian nation, I guess let me know how your team got on or how your nation got on. Are you going to the World Cup? Let me know what country you're from. Anyway, now I want to see how global we are. If you've watched this far into the video, 25 minutes, I want to know what country you're from and are you going to the World Cup? Other than that, I'll see you tomorrow, or we might have like one last international video of like a top 10 player, something like that. And then finally, club football is back on our screen. So have a great week. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bosh.